So you can save a ton of time in a Hyrox event just by knowing what not to do during the stations. I wish someone told me this when I first started Hyrox. So today I'm going to teach you exactly what not to do at every single station, from the SkiErg all the way to the wall balls. And stick around until the end, because I'm going to teach you a strategy that's going to really help you understand how to approach the race and can save you a ton of time. So starting with the SkiErg, the biggest mistake I see at the SkiErg are athletes using their arms too much during their initial pull. They're not using their body weight to throw their chest down to the ground, to use all of their momentum and all the power that they're generating from their body. So pulling with their arms too soon and flaring their elbows out. So in the ski, you want to make sure your elbows are tight and that you're driving your chest down to the ground. So once you're through the ski, it's going to set yourself up really well for the next station, which is one of the most challenging stations, and the one that I see done wrong all the time is the sled push. At the sled push, the fastest way to push the sled is probably the wrong way. Oftentimes, athletes will approach the sled and put their hands on the bars next to their shoulders. And this is probably going to be the best way to move the sled if you're looking for power and for speed. But it costs a lot of energy because of your upper body bracing, and it really limits how easily you're going to be able to breathe during the actual movement. You're about 12 to 15 minutes into the race at this point, and your heart rate is going to be elevated. So what you want to do is do a technique called the hooks. The hook technique is where you put your forearms against the pipes of the sled and you drive into it. And this really allows you to open up your breathing pathways and really reduces the restriction of blood flow that will happen if you have your hands up toward your shoulders. So once you get through that sled push, you're going to put yourself in an awesome position for the sled pull. The biggest mistake I see athletes making on the sled pull is managing the rope. It's intuitive when pulling the rope to discard it in between your legs, but the most efficient way to move the sled during a Hyrox event is to utilize the full length of the box. You have about 6 feet from the start of the box to the back of the box that you can work and walk yourself backwards in. If the rope is bunched up behind you, that's going to shorten the box length, because you will end up running into the rope or potentially tripping over the rope. So what you want to do is manage the rope and make sure you kick it off to either side of your body to give yourself a clear path from the front of the box to the back of the box. So we are now through several very challenging stations. When we get to the burpee broad jumps, this is where it can really all kind of come back and the fatigue will really start to hit us. If you've done a Hyrox before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So you need to manage your effort really well through burpee broad jumps without feeling like you're blowing up. So the biggest mistake I see athletes doing during the burpee broad jumps is taking their rest in the wrong positions. Oftentimes people will do the burpee, hit the chest to the ground, come to the top, come to a complete stand, rest at standing, reset, and then do their broad jump. This completely misses the momentum that you're going to have carrying from the ground through that explosion of your hips. So if you're going to rest after you land at the broad jump position and making sure that you are using that momentum from coming up from the ground and jumping forward to keep the progress rolling forward so that you're not wasting time and wasting energy redoing several motions. At this point of the race, we're starting to become physically exhausted. So it's crucial to not make any physical mistakes on this back half. And the caveat here, I am not a row coach. There are a lot of rowing resources when it comes to form on the internet, but this is the thing I see happen the most often during the row. People don't drive through the pedals of the rower using their legs because they're opening up their hips way too soon during their initial drive phase. You want to make sure that you are using your legs as much as possible and driving and pushing through the pedals so that you are as powerful as possible. When you open up your hips too early, you really mute how powerful your legs are in this movement, and it's going to be very costly and not efficient at all. And this late in the race, you want to make sure you're not wasting a single ounce of energy. Now we're on to the farmer's carry. We're almost there. We want to make sure we're moving well, just so we can use every bit of energy that we have to push toward those back two stations, which are the lunges and the wall balls, so that we can still have juice to finish this thing out strong. So during the farmer's carry, the biggest mistake I see is people allowing their shoulders to round forward and really kind of collapsing themselves down. So thinking about pulling your shoulders back and opening up your chest and your ribs to give yourself those breathing pathways that will make it so much easier for you to move is going to be crucial. Another thing I see on the farmer's carry is over gripping. Sometimes we pick up those kettlebells and we just squeeze them really hard, and that's not efficient. We want to use the least amount of energy possible during this movement because we still have two super demanding elements of the race left. So keep your hands light and keep your chest open during the farmers. During the lunges, you may be able to move well, but your tactics during the station could be causing you to lose a ton of time. The biggest mistake I see athletes make during the lunges is where they are coming to rest. The resting position should not be neutral feet. You should stagger your foot behind you each time just to keep the momentum moving forward. When we stop at neutral, too often we will just stand there and rest. And really, the best way to maximize this station is to keep moving. So making sure we're putting one foot in front of the other and not stopping our momentum at this neutral stance is critical to saving you time and to keeping you mentally engaged in the race. Okay, so we're at the final station. It's the wall balls. If you're already here, you know how challenging it's going to be. The biggest thing you can do is stay mentally tough. But physically, the thing I see people making the biggest mistake doing is they're too far away from the wall and their hand position is just in the wrong place. If you're not standing close enough to the wall, you're going to be pushing that ball out and the catch position is going to be inefficient. So making sure you are as close to the target as possible will give you an efficient line for your squat and for your catch, and will also allow you to kind of cradle the ball. So you want to make sure your hands are underneath the ball, not grabbing it at the side, and being close enough to the wall so that you are in an efficient movement pattern and you're able to go up and down without needing to throw the ball out in front of you and having to kind of wrangle it to catch it back in. So a tip for this is to keep your elbows tucked into your side and have the ball exactly where the target would be. This is going to be a pretty good position for you in terms of efficiency and how close you are to the target, and making sure that you are using that good line straight up and down so that you can move well during the wall balls. Okay, and finally, this is the best way to create a strategy to make sure you are maximizing your fitness and maximizing your effort levels during the event. It's going into the data. It's using a piece of software called RoxOpt. RoxOpt gives you personalized custom race reports that allows you to see exactly how you stack up against your competition and how you stack up against your previous race. Using this data is the best way to understand how you can really maximize your effort during a Hyrox race. All right, so now you have all these mistakes cleared up. You can just focus on your fitness and getting out there and expressing your fitness on race day. So make sure you subscribe to get all the latest tips on Hyrox and hybrid training. Talk to you soon.